Okay, this demonstration is a continuation of last week's lesson on making collagraph prints, which is basically you make a collage out of textured materials, and then we pulled prints on the jelly plate. Now, I got a lot of prints. Some I liked more than others. I'm going to do 3 today. So what's good about getting prints that you don't like is then hopefully you feel safe to do some tests on them to explore some ideas of what might enhance those prints. So I'm going to do a number of things. I thought charcoal pencil is fun, so I could add some finer lines. So right now, I'm not even really thinking about making a nice picture or a great composition. I'm just seeing, do I like the idea of using charcoal pencil on there? Like that black doesn't really show up. If I add a little bit of water, like a damp brush to the charcoal pencil, I can blend it like a paint. So right now these are tests. Like, would this go with this imagery? So that's one. Another would be exploring the Posca pens we've been working with. Okay, so that one's not really showing up. This is more graphic, so I have to decide, do I like a graphic kind of look with this image, or is that maybe I want to keep it more subtle? I like the gold Posca pen. I've been playing with that quite a bit. So I could bring out some of these shapes if I wanted. Okay, so it's got the Posca pen, the charcoal pencil. Do a little bit more. What I'm trying to do is see if I go around this, I think it's a griffin, if I can pop that image out more. It may just be a little too graphic for my taste, but I don't know. I have to kind of see what happens here. Okay, so that's test number 1. Test number 2 is from a previous collage plate I had made, and I already did some fiddling with charcoal pencil in there. The black, there's a key down in here, and I'm thinking, I want to see if I can shadow that a little bit more to highlight it. Another idea is to actually bring in some physical collage material. I liked this netting, so I'm going to glue it on with some Mod Podge. Again, I'm just playing and seeing, is this an effect that I would like, that I might play with some more? I had used some of this rickrack in my original Collagraph plate. So sometimes I'll bring the actual material, physical material, back into the painting. A glue gun would probably be better here. This is not sticking so well. Rubbing over with a piece of deli paper to see if I can get these materials to adhere. I am going to let this dry, and then the netting will be an opportunity to drag over with another colored paint. This one sort of had a feeling of tapestry to me, so that's what I'm going with. I'm going to put a little, I see some blue peeking through here, so I'm going to accent a little bit of that with the Posca pens. Okay, I'm going to let this dry, and I'll come back and do that. Yeah, this is just not, the rickrack does not want to stick. So glue gun would be better here, or I could put maybe a piece of wax paper and weight that, and it'll glue down. Actually, I'm going to put it under my palette and see if that will do the trick. Okay, now here's my original Collagraph plate. I am going to add some paint to it. And this is where things can get tricky. It's like, well, what colors? What do I do? So I like some of the light showing through from the green on the canvas. I'm going to leave that, and I'll focus on, I'll call this textured castle element. I'm going to drag some paint across that to bring it out. Now, what if you put a color on you just really don't like? What's the worst thing that could happen? You can keep painting over this layer, layer, layer until you get something that you like. So what I'm trying to say is you can't really mess it up. Okay, so I'm going to drag over this fabric texture, adding no water, and it's the magic 45-degree angle. I just drag across. And this is satisfying because you just pick up all that texture. There's an element of surprise. You don't know exactly what you're going to get. So I still have the green showing through. And I'm not putting the paint on too thick. Just want to lightly drag so that some of the color from below remains and I get that blue on top. Okay, I'll do a different color for this shape, which is like the sun. And that first color was a Provence blue. This is a cadmium yellow deep that I'm using. Same technique, dry brush. So I'm bringing things up slowly. Okay, I'm going to go a lighter blue now. So I like this process because you get a lot of mileage from, you get all the prints and then you get the original plate. And so you can get all these different renditions or versions of the same image. I'm going to add a little bit of gold here to the, I think it's a griffin. Paint is pretty wet, so probably would want that to dry, and then I could, the gold would show up better. I'm going to do the gold down here. And then what happens at this point, like I'm looking at it, I like what's going on here, then I might go back and I'm not so sure about the green. Maybe I want to go darker back in there. So let's see. Was going to go Prussian blue, but my hand landed on the Van Dyke brown. I'm just going to see what that does. Okay, now I'm kind of scrubbing in there, a little bit of dry brush and scrubbing. I'm going to leave some of the green, but not as much as around the griffin because I want that focal point to show up. Okay, and then this could go on for quite some time. Okay, so when you've got multiples, I kind of work in the round. It's like, okay, I know this isn't done. I know I want to add more. Not sure what right now. I'm going to put it off to the side. I'm going to come back to this one. Not fully dry. And the rickrack is refusing to stick. Go back there. Okay, so now I'm going to drag some paint across the top there. Dry brush again. Okay, so here's the dry brush across that red netting. So now it transforms and stands out against the reddish orangish background. I like the netting going off the page. And these are not really meant to be finished compositions. It's to give you ideas. So now I could actually bring in a little bit of collage material. I've got, let's see, I've got gold and copper and silver. So I could put some of my copper on, these were printed baggy ties. A little bit of gold. And I can just keep shuffling these shapes around till I see something that appeals, and then glue it down. Again, using my Mod Podge. Okay. I think you get the basic idea. I mean, I could keep going with this, more paint, going over this with more colors if I want, then coming back to my other one, see if there's more I can add to this, and then I'll be complete. So the Collagraph plate and the prints, it's an excellent way for practicing, getting used to incorporating all these different mixed media materials. I went from the blue, now back to orange. Now I'm going to put on thicker glops of more impasto paint, less dry brush, so actual thicker globs, which I usually do right at the end. Okay, still need something more, not sure what, but those are a variety of techniques and materials you can use with your prints and your collage plate.